All right, ready for the next one? Next one, PIMA. So now we're bringing in ring finger into the pattern. And there are two ways you can sort of work on this. You can do it where you're playing P and I together and then MA, or you can do PIMA separately. So playing thumb with the other fingers is also really important. So maybe I might do... And again, I'm sequentially planting at first when I go slowly to try and be relaxed and even. I can feel each finger swing. And then I might plant them as a block. And make sure that when you're doing this, you're not rolling P and I. They're together. And then I'll break it up and I'll do... I would start slowly, so maybe I might set the metronome. I'll show you an example with the metronome. And then I might bring in some bursts. Back to a slow tempo, and then one thing I also like to do, this is like a bonus, that if I do PIMA, I think A&M always needs extra work. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll practice if I'm doing arpeggios or working up my right hand. I'll bring in MA again. So making sure again everything is swinging comfortably. Maybe adding another thumb if you're just sort of feeling, right, and trying to get into what your fingers are doing. All right, so that was PIMA. And also with PIMA, I'll also try and do that where I'm pushing tempo a bit, just because it really helps to develop how you roll chords, and which translates almost into almost everything you do in guitar, right? When you roll a chord, the better, more control you have over PIMA, the better, I think. You'll have a lot of ways to express that type of ornament. So here I would do, find on a piece that uses that, like Villalobos's Prelude No. 4, or not, just do. That's sometimes hard to control, so I'm very aware that I can go into galloping, which sounds really bad. So I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to make sure it's even. And you know, again, find your way. It's a little bit, you know, you're working at extremes. You're really slow and controlled, and then you can, you know, do bursts within that framework a little bit, and then you go off and go as fast as you can, or push tempos where you try and make it so that you're not feeling four things at once, but you're feeling a gesture or a movement. And it makes it, even though you're going fast, it's sort of a slow thing. So this, it's just a gesture, right? And so I'm thinking more in groups of two, you know, PIMA, PIMA, like as if the thumb were eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and... So in my head, and just the way it feels, it doesn't feel like I'm playing 8 notes and I'm working really hard. I'm more just playing a quarter note's worth of notes, and that feels easier, I think, psychologically. All right, so that was PIMA, and then PAMI. Again, this is going to be something that I think we need to work on a lot because of tremolo. If you want to develop your tremolo, which we can do, I'll do a different video on it. But with tremolo, you really have to develop the consistency and the control of PAMI, unless you do a different pattern. But I think in general, most people do PAMI. So across strings, I'm going to, again, start off really relaxed, sequentially plant. Sometimes I like exaggerating when M and A come in and I plays. I try and let these guys relax out just to open up the hand and have that feeling of being relaxed and neutral. I don't think I do that when I play fast, but it's nice. It just feels good and comfortable. I saw a video where Pepe Romero was helping someone with tremolo, which is a really great video. And he was showing how his fingers worked, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but I'll paraphrase, where he does P, A, and when M goes in, his A recovers. And it seems crazy to do that because it's not a sympathetic movement. But it does, you know, if you practice it, there's something about having A come out that relaxes M too. So if you have a very light touch and a beautiful sound like Pepe does, that could be, you know, that can really help. And I mean, when you hear him play tremolo, you know that it's working. So, but I'm sure there are other things he does too. But I just remember that little anecdote. Anyway, so PAMI, again, relax. And here I like to think of P and A almost landing together, if not together. Very important to stay relaxed. Maybe I might, again, like in the other ones, I would do start on a different finger. Etc. You know, I would finally do I. with PIMA. I'm thinking evenness, and I'm trying to, again, get a feel for what it's like to play fast. And then again, I'll go back and forth between slow and fast. Another thing that I like doing with PAM is just because tremolo requires that you're very, very close to the strings. Like if you're playing tremolo like this, you just don't have enough time. Like it's going to be slow. So going off on a tangent here, but still, when I do PAMI, I like doing this little exercise where I play thumb, it goes back, A, and I'm trying to train my fingers just to be as close as they can, you know, literally on the string. So when I go back to play it, I might experiment too with angle of the wrist. Where is it that I'm relaxed? If I'm like this, sometimes I feel some tension, even though the sound is nice. Sometimes if I'm more Segovia-ish, it can be clearer, right? It can be a little bit more naily. Like with tremolo, that it's nice to have that clarity. You don't want a whooshy sound necessarily with tremolo. Anyway, so that's PAMI.